Nobody is above the law. Not politicians, not protesters, and not journalists. Today's story proves that. Because when the news broke that Don Lemon was arrested, a lot of people instantly picked sides. Some said, this is an attack on the free press. Others said, he crossed a line. But here's the truth. This case isn't about liking Don Lemon or hating him. It's about something much bigger. It's about where journalism ends and activism begins. My name is Mark. This is Mark Brief. And if you care about facts, context, and calm analysis, not outrage headlines, subscribe to the channel. Let's break this down. Stay with me. Because one small moment in this story changes everything. A few days ago, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, there was an anti-ICE protest. Not outside, not on a sidewalk, inside a church. It happened during a Sunday service. People were there to worship. Families were present. The pastor was leading the service. Don Lemon entered the church with a camera and began recording. Later that night, he was arrested by federal authorities. And immediately, the narrative took off. Journalist arrested for doing his job. But that framing skips over some very important details. Because how something happens matters more than what label you use. Here's the key part, and this is not opinion. This is on video. Inside the church, Don Lemon is confronted by the pastor. The pastor asks him to stop, then asks him to leave. Don Lemon refuses. That single moment is the turning point. Up until then, you can argue journalism. After that moment, the argument changes. Because refusing to leave private property after being asked is not reporting. It's a legal issue, and the law does not care how famous you are or how many followers you have. Let's slow this down and keep it simple. A journalist observes. An activist participates. A journalist documents events. An activist tries to shape them. A journalist steps back. An activist steps in. Once you insert yourself into the situation, especially against someone's will, you stop being neutral. And neutrality is the foundation of journalism. You can report on a protest. You cannot become part of it and then claim immunity. And this is where many people get confused. A church is private property. Yes, churches welcome the public, but that welcome is conditional. Just like a stadium, a theater, a private event venue. Once you are asked to leave, the invitation ends. And here's something important. People inside that church also have First Amendment rights. They have the right to worship freely, without interference, without disruption. One person's rights do not cancel another person's rights. That balance matters. And federal law takes that balance very seriously. There is a federal law designed to protect people who are trying to worship. In plain English, it says this: if someone physically interferes with religious worship, or blocks it, or disrupts it in a serious way, they can face federal charges. This law is not about speech. It is about interference. Prosecutors are not saying Don Lemon said something we don't like. They are saying he refused to leave and disrupted a religious service. Now, let's talk about the First Amendment. Honestly, the First Amendment is one of the most important protections in American history. It protects speech, it protects the press, but courts have been very clear about one thing. Journalists do not get special immunity from laws that apply to everyone. You can write about a crime, you can film from public space, but you cannot trespass, you cannot obstruct, you cannot interfere. The amendment protects what you say, not how you force yourself into a situation. That line is not political, and this brings us to the bigger picture. This isn't just about Don Lemon, it's about the future of journalism. If journalists become activists, and activists claim to be journalists, the public stops trusting both. And when trust disappears, real reporters suffer. A free press only works when the public believes the press is acting in good faith. Lines matter. boundaries matter. Without them, everything breaks down. So here's the real question. If anyone, journalist or not, is asked to leave private property and refuses, should they be treated differently because they have a camera? Or should the law apply equally? That's what this case will decide. I'm Mark. This is Mark Brief. If you value calm, fact-based analysis, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me in the comments, did Don Lemon cross the line or not?